Good evening, everybody, and good evening, everybody, once again. Very happy to be moderating this panel. Though I think the comparers call out your names, but it'll be great that within just 20 seconds, if you can just give a introduction about yourselves to the audiences and for myself as well. You may start from you, sir, please.
Thank you. My name is Sangha Tamaran Govindarajan. It's a little difficult name to pronounce. I go by Sangha. I represent SRM here. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at SRM.
Welcome, Sangha. Ma'am.
I'm Vaishnavi Shankar from Shankar IAS Academy. I am one of the managing partners there. I also teach economics as for the GS as well as for the optional. So with our 20 years of experience, we have been invited here to talk further. Thank you.
Good evening all. This is Srinath here representing Acharya Group of Institutions from Pondicherry. I am at the capacity of Executive Director with the group. Thank you.
Hi, good evening all of you. Here it is Xavier. I am the Chief Executive Officer of a DMI group of institutions where we have 7 engineering colleges, 2 arts colleges, and I manage another 28 schools. That's my kind of a role.
Amazing. 28 schools, you said? That's amazing.
All over India.
Abroad also. Good evening, friends. This is Dr. R. Kishore Kumar, a teacher from the school industry, and today I'm the chairman of the St. John's Public Schools related to schools and school education, not beyond that. I'm Kishore Kumar. I don't know how my father named me Kishore Kumar. I can't speak in Hindi. I can't sing any song. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Myself, Thirumurthy Arumugam. You can call me Thiru. I'm the Managing Director of Sri Shanmuga Educational Institutions from Tiruchengood. I am 1 year experienced in academic. The rest of the time, I'm just a year here and in this institution. It's a family-owned institution. That's why I'm here. But my majority of my experience were in US, and I moved back very recently and taken over.
Okay. And you said you were an academician before?
No.
No?
No, I was a cybersecurity consultant.
Oh, okay. All right. Fantastic. Let's welcome the panelists, and I would request each one of you to please keep your mobile phones on silent for a while. All right. The topic for today is Enrollment Growth Unplugged, wherein we would like to hear from you, your experiences, that how enrollment trends have changed in India, and what do you see the best practices around student engagement, more and more conversion in terms of quality, quantity. Also, we'll like to understand from you the role of tech in doing enrollments, right? So maybe we can start from Sangha. So Sangha, you've been into educational institutions since a while now, and you must have been interacting with students very closely, and they must have seen this process of enrollments change over the period of time. We have recently also published an enrollment index which encapsulate how the trends have changed or what are the different marketing mixes based on the last year's 2.3 crore students data, where we saw that offline, which used to be say 100% contributor of admissions say around a decade ago, has become 35% now, and 65 goes to different digital and some non-digital channels as well. What's your view? How have you seen these changes shaping place, and what do you think are the student expectations today?
Yeah. So I've been looking at enrollments for about 6 years now, right? I'll just chart a timeline. 6 years ago, at SRM, 25 to 30% of all our applications used to be offline applications, wherein we used to go give our brochures, application forms to multiple schools and everything. And about 60-65 used to still come to our portal and apply, right? Today, that number has grown almost, the overall application number has grown almost 3-fold, and we do not sell even one paper application. Every single application today we do is through Meritto's platform, and it is a digital application, right? That has drastically changed. The second thing is how we used to, take the brand of SRM to the market has largely changed. We still do a good amount of outreach events. We still engage our multiple other publishing partners, but today institutions are moving towards a greater trend of independently building their own teams internally. Um, yeah, your brand pull, that's your major ticket. What you build over years is still going to account for, let's say, 60-70% of your applications and enrollments. But Google, be it the AdWords, the search engine campaigns, your other social digital platforms, we've seen a greater uptick year over year. We see 7 to 10% growth, not just with the traditional publishers, where institutions are directly, tapping into the student community through their own campaigns. So that is largely changing. One other trend which we have observed in the last 3 years is traditionally the mobility in student community used to be just for engineering and probably for MBA, right? That trend is largely changing now. Today, students are traveling for arts. Today, students are traveling for sciences. Today, students are traveling for liberal arts. Today, students are traveling for medicine. And we see this mobility happening across the country. A huge chunk of this student community is coming out of central India, coming out of the northeast of India, into south. They're going to the northern parts of India. That mobility has largely increased, and this is just not a trend for engineering and MBA anymore.
At a broader level, what would be the geographical distribution of your enrollments? If you like to share that.
At SRM, about 15 to 20% would be from Tamil Nadu. 80% would be outside of Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Andhra and Telangana would account for about 15 to 20%, but that's the same for any engineering institution in the country. And our trends change, just it's very different, right? Like we have medicine, we have law, and the mobility patterns and all of this geography changes very drastically for each of these faculties. We do get a sizable amount of students from UP, Bihar, the central parts of Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, and the northeastern part of India.
So 15 to 20% are from state admissions and 80% largely are from
80% is outside of Tamil Nadu. Yes.
Okay, that's a fantastic number. Now moving to ma'am from Dr. Vaishnavi Shankar from Shankar IAS Academy. So he talked about brand pull playing a vital role in their enrollment growth over the years, but brand equity builds up over the period of time. It's not right from day one. And I believe that at Shankar IAS Academy, I think the way that you've been managing enrollments and enrollment growth is very different from how it is done in a higher ed, maybe a university or a B school, ma'am. So how has been your journey? How easy or difficult has been it for you to find the right set of students for your institution?
As you rightly said, I don't belong to any of the category of people who are sitting on the dais, because they produce the graduates and the postgraduates, and we wait for them to finish their college and then come to us. Because having a degree is the eligibility for the civil services examination or for any competitive examination. So our challenge was to find out the best potential students. Potential students are one category. Number two is there could be average students who are having very intense passion to become into civil servants. So we really need to identify them and then bring them here. This journey is almost...
I'm sorry, ma'am. When you say average student, what does it mean? Academically average?
Academically average. See, if you say good potential students, by which you all will mean that having a good CGPA, overall the class first, university first. If that is the case, who should become into an IAS? All the IIT people and the IIM people only can enter into civil services. That's not the case with us. Today we have like 50% of the strength what we have coming from different districts of Tamil Nadu, rural regions of Tamil Nadu. Women are coming here to Chennai. So this was all possible. Slowly only it was initially bringing in good numbers first. Two things. First, more number of students had to succeed from Tamil Nadu for us to show our strength. That all happened from 2004. Then slowly the quality, getting very good ranks and then placing them in a very good position like the IAS, IPS, IFS. So for us, every year, maybe for a college, how many number of placements, what is the total package and where do you get placed? These are all the questions. Our enrollment totally depends upon the results what we produce every year. So it is not just the routine 3-year course. We study every year along with the students for all the 3 phases of the examination. Prelims, once the prelims is over, we go to the mains. From the mains, we go to the interview and we have lots of learning from the students. We suddenly see a person who is from an engineering background studying anthropology and then clearing it in the first attempt. So there will be lots of experience. We have branches in Trivandrum, Bangalore, Delhi, and some places inside Tamil Nadu also. So there could be students who are totally from remote area having no exposure to this examination, but they just believe in what they are doing. They study well, they write well, they present themselves well. So that's where our challenge comes. We don't just look at the elite colleges alone. We have the responsibility of identifying the potential from all the colleges. And therefore, then we started doing a bit of this awareness programs across the colleges just to sensitize them. There are lots of successful candidates who said that only because like we went and sometimes spoke about the examination. Why I am saying this, spoke about the examination. How many of you know how many papers are there in the mains examination of UPSC in this hall? Any answers? How many of you know how many phases are there for the civil services examination? 3? Yes, sir? 3, 4? How many of you know how many attempts are they allowing? It depends on the community. OC has less number of attempts, OBC has more number of attempts. How many of you know that physically challenged people can write up to 42 years of their age without having any restriction on their number of attempts? So inside Tamil Nadu, see, we have to become part of the policy making. That's the major agenda why we are here. We all of us cannot become politicians to reach Delhi. We need to have some source and power to make policy decisions in the country. For that, becoming the bureaucracy or entering into the bureaucracy is the only way how we can achieve it. And particularly Tamil Nadu being the southernmost state, the representation of us in the central government is actually very less. Not to offend anybody, this is a fact what I want to say. So in this case, we have to find a channel how we can become more participative in the policy making process. For that, we have to identify all the potential hands from the nooks and corners of the state and then elevate them to the center. So that was the agenda why we had to travel so long. But I'm telling you, every year it is a firefighting for the admission process, because unless and until we see the results, we won't be able to make a next year as a very good year. But it takes a long journey, long number of years to gain the trust of the students over here, and very long number of years to put in the efforts to develop the content, streamline them for the interview, bring up the material for them. So these are all the efforts which go into it. And of course, as sir was mentioning, we do go to the digital. Sometimes when we go to the digital, print media dominates. Then we go to the print media. When the results come, we have to give the first page ad, the second the jacket ad, and all those things. Unless we make ourselves visible, people won't know what exactly we are doing. We are not in the routine formal education system. We are in a very separate segment. So we make use of both the print media as well as the digital media. Of course, the Google ads. Of course, Meritto is a really great help for us right now, because we get enquiries from different modes. Some people just walk into our office. Some people call us and then ask us. Some people see us in the Facebook. Some follow the Instagram. Some follow the Twitter. So we are getting the leads from different, some touch this Google ads, that campaign, whatever we run. So unless and until we integrate everything into one place and then inquire them, okay, what do you want? How do you want to study? How many years you have? There are college students, there are people who work, there are mothers who call us, there are rural women who approach us. They have no idea about the examination, but they want to do it. So ours is really a challenging thing just to first of all inform about the, see, to talk about an engineering course, anybody will know how many years it will take to complete it. But we will never be able to say, once you get into this field, how many years will it take into become a civil servant, right? So with all the challenges, the system is really helping us. We just got into it, and then I hope it will help us further. Thanks for
Yeah, sure. Ma'am, I'll take a cue from the, all the content that you just mentioned about, and then you mentioned that there are average students that you also try to find out who are passionate about doing this. Don't you see that as a risk to the final outcomes, as you also mentioned about results and all? We know that all the institutions who are into test prep of UPSC services, they are very prominently heavy on advertising about the results, right? And if you have average students who might be potential students or passionate, not potential, passionate students, they could be a risk to poorer results eventually. And you might have to really work hard on them, and they might start to lose interest. So
there are
how do you manage
repeaters.
that?
There are repeaters because we have more number of attempts to give to the examination. So it's not just taking them in. We have to sustain them for years. Maybe sometimes we engage them in our work. Maybe sometimes we support them by taking the content from them. We make part of our question making team. So some support system, either the family has to support, or as an institution, we take up the responsibility and support. We give them the study hall. So unless and until they are able to make it over years, particularly girl children, it's very, very difficult. After 2 to 3 years, they'll say like, why don't you get married? We don't see you doing it. Just with one more attempt, they'll be able to make it, but they won't let them be in Chennai after it. That's where the online system helps us a lot. We throw the test online, we do the discussions online, we give the classes online. So everything becomes online when the children, they just go back to their place and then keep continuing with us.
All right, fantastic. So moving to the next panelist, what are the core focus areas that you have in your organization, and what is the framework that you follow for the enrollment growth?
Pardon me, the second part of the question.
What is the framework, or is there a framework that you have which ensures that whatever targets that you're setting as far as enrollments is concerned in your institution, right, are met? How does it really happen in your institution?
See, for us, for me in particular, the positioning of my brand is very important. I mean, as a school community, as a group of schools, whenever a particular institution or a brand is diversifying or they are expanding, I normally believe there are parents who are more economic oriented. There are parents who are more emotionally oriented, brand oriented.
And
So-
also, I think in schools, proximity plays a very important role because you can't really bring students from north, south, east, west. There is a range of kilometers that you can target. So it becomes especially more focused and targeted. Isn't it?
8 years back, I used to travel to Middle East with 2 bags full of application forms, doing admission drive for a school. So in the same school, 3 years down the line, I just took a tab, went, did the admission and came back.
Amazing.
So the residential schools, the NRI people who are looking for their children to take up Indian competitive exams, the crowd is growing a lot like that.
Oh, okay.
So we do get students from various demographies. I used to have children from Kashmir come and study with one of the schools which I worked with. And there are a lot of from Tura, Meghalaya, there are residential students who
Oh,
come
really?
in. So we used to do admission drives going there in Tura and Meghalaya in complete cold environment. We used to do those drives as well. So as far as the demand grows, we need to fill up the schools and we need to come up with innovative ideas to cater to students. So earlier used to be the days where the demand was very high for educational institutions. Meritto or any other platforms like this, because I don't want to do the negotiating game with the parents. You do the complete brand delivery, the explanation, and then you take the parents to the process online. rather than taking them through a written process where kind of you start negotiating with the parent about education and fees and other things. So these things will not be in a position. And as suppose, as in our institution is concerned, we get a lot of, as ma'am was rightly saying, like we get a lot of parent inquiries from many sources. And we would really want to understand which source gives us the best conversions, more inquiries, where to invest in terms of marketing. So whether to go to ATL or BTL or to digital, all these things we call in our institution, we call each lead as an asset. So
Asset?
asset.
Asset, okay.
So we have 8 different classification of assets. So like digital, events, then reference, ambassadors. So all these classifications are there. And of course, for the past 2 months, since I'm working on the implementation of Meritto, my focus point is on to classifying each of these asset sources. So which has been helping me a lot on that front. So that focus as an institution is very important, I believe, because the landscape of marketing in terms of educational institutions is changing a lot. And it is very important for an institution to understand how to evolve according to the changing landscape and not be on the old methods.
So if you were to pinpoint a couple of things or activities or events that really contributed heavily to the enrollment growth that you've seen or have really worked for you over these years, what would those be?
See, orientations and engaging the parents on terms of events in terms of a funnel system, it always works. Rather than directly approaching the parents for admissions, there can be a funnel system of events which works out a lot. And that has been working out. Digital, of course, for the past 2 to 3 years, every schools are leveraging on the digital platforms. Though the quality of leads is a subject matter of discussion, still there's a huge dependency on the digital medium for getting more admissions as well.
Okay, and when you say digital, is it largely SEO and SEM and then
SEO,
Google,
SEM,
Facebook?
Google SEO, Google AdWords, social media marketing, then like what to say, the website like visits and other things. All these things matter a lot.
So there are no publishers or school discovery websites like we
There
have in
are.
higher ed like Shiksha, College Duni and College Dekho for schools.
There were a few which I worked with personally in the past, before 2 years. But post-COVID, that scene has changed a lot. As you said, the demographical restriction of parents, the mindset of parents have changed a lot. And they are looking at more of location, demographically aligned areas for them. But, and the other parents, like I said, the parents who come for certain competitive exam coachings and other things, they are not, these websites were not able to like target those parents and capture them. So it was a big failure for me for, I think 2 years back, after just out of COVID, it was a big failure for me to work with few of these websites like this.
Okay.
And post that, we have not entertained such things.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, John sir, and please excuse me if I'm pronouncing anyone's name incorrectly. So, sir, you mentioned about managing 28 schools collectively, right? How have you been able to do that? Because 28 schools is in management of so many, marketing activities for different institutions, and there are a lot of branding that you need to take care of, advertising and all. So, is there a structure that you follow or you've put up across the years to managing it very strongly? We'll be very keen to learn about it.
First of all, I have to clarify that I'm only 5 months old in this organization. So
okay.
I'm trying to put in all these systems. See, fundamentally,
maybe then we like to learn that how the things were being managed here and what are the changes you are introducing.
Exactly. So I think that will be useful to all of you. So I think there was a time when you had demand far exceeding the supply. So we never had to advertise, never had to do anything for filling the seats.
Yeah.
So only in the last 3-4 years, I think they are experiencing this shortage of students. So this is what is contributing to this mad rush to, marketing. Otherwise, who thought of marketing being applied to education? So now, what has happened is we started with newspaper ads, then some amount of TV ads, then slowly got into, social media advertising. But then all were done, half-heartedly. So because of that, what has happened is ultimately your reliance on consultants have become heavy. So far, what is happening is that for all these 7 colleges and 2 other arts colleges, we rely heavily on consultants. So what happens is your acquisition cost becomes as high as 25% of the entire fee you collect from students. Because you have to advertise, you have to also spend money on this consultant. Now we have to impress the consultants so that they'll pick up your college and promote the college. That's where it is. So now after my coming in, we have our vice chancellor who is looking after the university, which is a different entity within DMI group. We are trying to build that kind of brand visibility. So first time we are going with the DMI brand. Otherwise, DMI Engineering College, St. Joseph College, various JP College, there are so many different colleges. First time we are advertising as DMI group of institutions. This is number 1. Number 2 is we are running a lot of campaigns and trying to measure the effectiveness of campaigns. And this is to generate leads. Once leads have started coming in now I am looking at the lead engagement strategy. When the leads come, I pass it on to the different schools, different colleges. It's a centralized Meritto system. And Meritto works very well for us in that sense. Now I have to wait and see how the lead conversion takes place. It's not an easy task engaging the leads and converting them, telling them that this is a good institution, Christian institution, it has been there for so many years. All that is a tough ask. So it's a new attempt. If that doesn't work, we have the fallback on the consultants. I also lined up consultants. So this is the reality. I think many of you will empathize with what I am trying to tell you. So that's a basic. Yeah.
Okay, so this year especially decided that the entire branding exercise has to be in the name of the group?
Group, yeah.
Okay, do you see a risk of dilution of brand equity of individual entities by doing the same? Or it's the other way around?
No, it is a lot of synergy in terms of the money you spent. Earlier, each one was trying to spend money. Now, when we participate in an exhibition, we go as a group. So when you advertise, we go as a group. We have a brochure which is as a group. So I find that there is a lot of savings, but your question is still very much valid. We will know only after this year admissions. We are hoping that this will give us good rewards.
So there are institutions we talk to, and very few institutions of late have told us that we might want to outsource the complete admission process to somebody else, right? Maybe to a bigger consultant, or maybe to a company which is offering that service. And I'll not have to spend any money. I'll not have to put up a team, so and so forth. And whatever admissions are happening, so based on certain commitments and certain protocols, we'll pay them. Do you think that to be a good idea?
No, it depends on the nature of institution. I have worked in SRM, VIT, I have been in IIMs and all these places. So there the ball game is different. I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to outsource anything.
Absolutely.
But for an institution like ours, where I am working now, the 2 big challenges are getting admissions, getting them placed. So there are, agencies that actually get you students, they train them, they also place them. So you only have to give them the space and give the chapa, that degree. So you have to have a mix of both. So have maybe 20-30% of those kind of agents doing it for you. So you are assured of 30% seats being filled, and you have a certain return coming out of that course for the space that you have got. And you have to try and fill the remaining 50-70% of the seats. I think that's a viable strategy, because it's highly competitive. Placing is difficult. Attracting students is difficult. Once you build a brand image, then you can go ahead and do your own. You can dictate your terms in the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So moving to Kishore sir right here. Your view on the question that I just asked him, that is it good for institutions to try build capacities to deliver to their internal targets of enrollments, branding and marketing, or is it better to outsource it to some other third parties, maybe
Ma-
who are offering you expertise?
Marketing is a new name for me. All the challenges what sir has, it's a different challenge for me.
Okay.
I come from the same industry. I belong to the same brand for the last 44 years. I have not jumped institutions, I have not jumped schools, but I stick to this. But one of the biggest challenge for me is I look at an educational institution at the school level, the root of education. That's where I think. Any child that comes to me have to be given to the society with the eligibility and potential and the competencies what today the child need to be. I'm in the same industry 40 years back. No, I was little different. I used to look upon institutions under us as the residential schools. Now, I have a small story. If I'm allowed, I can share with you.
Oh, please,
There was
go ahead.
one gentleman who came from the Bangladesh University. He sat with me. And I said he came in the month of August, and I couldn't admit him. He came, but when the father went back, the boy was arguing with the father. I could see in my TV screen, in my CCTV, the boy was arguing. Then I asked my office staff, what is he trying to tell? He is abusing his father, talking so bad about his own father. Then I called the father back. I said, what is he? He's shouting at me. He said, you are not eligible to get admission for me. Then why did you bring me to Chennai? I said, your son is admitted. I want that type of boy whom I can treat with and send him out. Then the father told me, so I was not able to reveal it to you. I'm the finance minister of the Bangladesh government and I head the finance department. I don't want to buy admission through that. I want to buy. I could see genuinity in him. See, what I'm trying to tell, the value of an education institution need to be different. So I was really very happy to listen to them because I'm sending my children to these schools, to these institutions of higher order. My demand for the last 40 years was different, where people were only looking at institutions for discipline's sake, for orderliness. I remember a Sri Lanka father, a businessman, used to tell me, "Nee padikave venda, nee anga poi iru podum." See, that was the demand of the earlier people. Today, the fathers and mothers, families' demands are entirely different. Please understand. Now, we need to work on a different platform. I need to prepare the child in such a way, all the details, what the child needs for the future have to pump into the child. So what I have to do, what I'm supposed to do in the kindergarten classes, where curriculum is not important. How do the teachers handle the children? How affectionate are they? When I come to the lower primary, my agenda is different. I do not have one agenda. For example, I'll tell you very frankly, I'm not bothered about admission. Admission will automatically come. I am not waiting for admission, no consultancy, no advertisement, nothing. My school will never have admission open board. But I see in many schools, all the days, 12 months admission open boards are there. So there, you are trying to lose your own identity. See, identity is very important. What your school is trying to work on it. See, today, even a washroom is important for a child. You may think the textbooks are important for a child. No, it is also what type of washroom you're giving to the child. The father is interested, the child is interested, how hygienic is your washroom? How good are the teachers? See, this is what is going to be important for the children. So we have to work in such a way, we keep upgrading year-wise. What I have spoken last year, I can't speak this year. What was my address in the farewell of the last year cannot be my address the farewell of this year. So this is what is important. Today, the challenges are, India is not an isolated country. We are sending children to the global market. So what are the global trends I need to plug into the children are more important in terms of skills, in terms of talent, in terms of fluency, in terms of ethics, in terms of diet, in terms of values, everything I have to give. So how do you do? See, for example, we do have, when I studied, I never had heard a name called student counselors. I have 3 student counselors today. I have never heard the word special educators. Today, we hear about special educators. See, these are all the things. I never had a clinic in my school. But today, I need to have a clinic with my institution clubbed with the Apollo. Like this, no, today, the agenda is revolving around something. You call it evolving. I call it revolving. It keeps revolving. It keeps moving. So I have to work in such a way. And again, I tell you, it can't be one agenda for an institution. Different types of children are there. I don't screen and say I will only take the best children. Now our duty is to produce the best children. Our duty is not to admit best children. That is what is my agenda. For example, I'll tell you secretly, in market, there are many children for whom the 11th standard TC has been given, sent out from the schools. Do you know why? He is not scored 80 marks, so he is sent out of the school. There are many children roaming around from the top institution. See, I will not send even a boy who scored only 33 marks. Because my agenda is to work with them. So my agenda is different. I need to work in a different platform. Now I need to give them resources. The teacher is the first resource. The textbooks are the best resources. How do we handle the resources, the next resource? How do we create a curriculum as a different identity? How do I prepare? For example, I may have a sports meet. Now, how do we create a curriculum during the sports meet? Now today children are interested in sports. I have to bring in, I don't give freebies. I don't give freebies. I don't say, there are many schools say we don't have admission fee. We don't have donation. We don't take donation. But understand what today the parents' expectations are so different. Most of them from IT companies, or today they know the art of the game. Now they want to be very good in sports. So you find out the strength of the children, what is their ability, accordingly plan the institution. So the planning may differ this year to the next year. But what is the agenda? So we also work in such a way, we don't take more than 35 children in a class or where we have 5 sections or 6 sections. In all our institutions, this is what is the agenda. Please understand. So we had a very huge residential school. One of the finest residential school in Chennai, which had 28 acres of land, and it was given to me by the Tamil Nadu Revenue Department on lease. I closed the school. I'll tell you with all my passion, I closed the school because the government did not extend my lease. It did not extend me. I said, no bother. I'm not worried. I worked that year sincerely. I understood today the school is closed because the government are asking me to pay 54 crores. I can't pay 54 crores. How can I pay 50 crores for extending me? They may be trying to do something. I said, no, bro. I've done for 30 years. I've produced a lot of children out of the world. Every student today is a seed. And he is doing something elsewhere where I'm not bothered about. That's what I call it brand building. Now, what is called the Mercedes? What is called a Rado watch? It's a brand. I can assure you that such brand which works on researchers are given into the market where they have to do well. They have to do well. So I, as a school, I work with an agenda that I have to produce my children so well. I as a biology teacher, I know any student is a product of the parents. It is genetically controlled. I can't do anything more than that. And today parents are trying to push in. But whatever the society wants, I'm trying to give them. For example, STEM lab or the STEAM lab, or the instrument they need for the musical extravaganza, or the Carnatic music they want, vocal they want. See, I provide everything. Including the space lab. See, today that is the need. Please understand, when you provide everything that they need for tomorrow, you need not put a board called admission board. I live with merit, I don't live with Meritto. But I'm allowed to know from Meritto how Meritto can help me also, because challenges are also evolving. And I have one more problem. The biggest problem that I face is the faculty. The biggest problem I face is, I have 2 issues. The recent teacher, the one who are just graduating, post-graduating, wanting to become, do not have the right attitude. They are the product of today's education. They do not have the right attitude. To bring them into the right attitude, I don't work after 3:30. Now, I have teachers who are 50 years old, 55 years old, have the best attitude. Resources are less. Today, technology support is less. Now, how do I balance it? Now, you would have seen, I would advertise every week on Hindu paper. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all because I want them. I don't want to go to Nauri.com or this.com, somebody giving me consultant and giving me teacher. I want to see my teacher sit in front of me. I want to know, what are you? Are you prepared? I'm ready to prepare yourself. Because today, children in our classrooms need the best. I'm ready to give them Allen integrated program. I'm ready to give them Akash integrated program. I'm ready to give them, there are many children playing for Tamil Nadu from our school, from the cricket or football. There are many areas the children can do well. It is not academic excellence alone makes a school. We have to make all approach model where we approach child as per the needs. So that's what we do. So I think an institution has its own agenda, its own merit. and own leadership. The vision of the institution is very important. Stick to the policy of the school. Don't change your policy. Stick. You will have a lot of challenges. Work on the challenges. I think we'll be able to win the game.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, yeah. I think that deserves an applause. And you talked about building merit, and you also talked about learning outcomes is what it really matters. So far, we've been talking about how to really propagate that learning matters. And so, where do you leverage technology in doing this? Because you just mentioned about a Hindu paper and not
Classroom
a
has
digital
technology.
market.
It has integrated board, smart board. That's what I say. I don't deny anything to the children. I don't deny. I have 12 PT masters for a school of 202,600. I don't deny them. I have all types of resources. I have all types of infrastructure. But infrastructure alone cannot do anything. The human touch. For example, there are institutions, there are colleges who would have set up a. See, I was traveling in one of the colleges very nearer to Chennai. When the professor took me after addressing the faculty, they took me around. They showed me a building and said, "This is our library." I said, "People do not visit this library." "Yeah, how do you know, sir? You are isolated library from." I have 3 libraries in every of my campuses. One is called a regular library. I provide them 40 magazines. My duty is to see whether my children are using the library. That is more important. How many newspapers I'm giving even them Tamil newspaper, Hindi newspaper, Telugu newspaper, all types of things are available to them. So I call see, a student of 12th standard can buy 10 books. He cannot buy 100 books. So I have to provide a library of reference where he can have empty number of books. He is only asking, can I come by evening 6 o'clock to study? Yeah, librarians have to stay with me from 6 o'clock. Many of my people working with me may not like me because my policy is different.
So, sir, in interest of time, I think we'll move to Tirumurthy, and I'll ask you similar question, taking cue from what Kishore sir just mentioned. So, as per him, I think propagation of what you are delivering is not much important because to automatically create a lot of buzz if you are working on your core policy and strengthening the learning outcomes. Do you share similar feelings, or there is something else that you have to propound?
I completely go with Kishore sir. Okay, so thank you so much, and it was absolute wisdom. See, I've come from the industry. I'm new to the academic, and it's been 1 year I'm into the institution.
Yeah.
I have seen the problem where we have pools of people coming inside our companies with degree certificates, and they clear the interview. Yes, they cleared the interview. The industries hire them for numbers. We have a huge talent scarcity of people. They hire the people, but if you actually look at it, it's been they spend quality amount of time in making them employable and scalable. Right? So if we produce the right skilled candidate, the people will come in automatically. But definitely, yes, we should have the avenues technically advanced ourselves so that we get the right talent pool inside the institution. On the second hand of this, today I appreciate there has been a platform to get people inside the campus, and it should be having a 360-degree view of looking at whether the same candidate who come in with the vision of, yes, I want to do X and Y and Z, are they going with the same vision of achieving that vision, right? And with a thought of suggestion, probably if you can also look at seeing a 360 degree of the candidates whom we are pulling into this pool, are they getting them into the right output on the LinkedIn platform?
Yeah. See, as an organization, we have always aspired to build a technical backbone for institutions. When I say technical backbone, we look at it into 3 segments. One is input, which is admissions and enrollments. Then is throughput, which is largely to do with the student life cycle management, right, where all the ERPs and student information systems come to play. And the third is output, which is to do with alumni and placements automation, right? So these are the 3 things that we would like to really solve for the industry. We picked up to solve the problem for enrollments because we realized, that's where all the revenue lies, and that's where all the quality of input relies, and what we have been talking about so far. So let's solve this problem of input, and then let's get into throughput and output. But fantastic hearing from you. We'll take another 10 minutes. I'll quickly, move my question from all of you. Rather, I'll ask this question that all of us talked about intervention of technology some or the other way, right? And I was talking to, I think, the CEO of Global School, Mr. Shriram, is here, I guess. And he was also, yeah, right there. He was mentioning that we have also subscribed to Meritto and we know that it's a good platform, but we are utilizing it to 50-60%. It's just been a couple of months and we want to utilize it to 100% for a larger outcome, right? And this is what we also feel is a challenge, right? We at a functional owner level feel that this technology is very exciting and these are the problems because we've got a larger view, right? So this technology is going to solve these problems for me. However, if it fails at the time of implementation or adoption, right, all my money goes away. So maybe from yourself, Sangha, and then maybe Vaishnavi ma'am from you and rest of everybody, you like to understand that how have you ensured in your institutions that whatever technology for whatever purpose, right from admissions to improving learning outcomes, whatever, right? Have you ensured that its adoption it's to its hilt, right? Is there a framework that you follow? Are there people accountable, right? Or you depend on the vendor in your people and then drive outcomes for you? What has been the case with yourself, and then we'll hear it from rest of everybody.
Yes. So I've been looking at Meritto for 6 years, right? I'll just do again a cycle. 6 years ago, 60-70% of all the work, the configurations and everything, right, used to happen by from probably we have a customer success manager. They used to handhold us. They used
Our
to,
team.
yeah, your team, Meritto's team, right? They used to do it. Today, I believe that percentage is, yeah, there is still this back-end configurations that happen. Today, that percentage is about 5 to 10%. One particular thing I'll talk about is automations. Before I go into automations, I'd like to touch upon a couple of points. Where marketing comes into picture for us is not really quantity, it's quality. There are 3 Indias, right? Like I keep going back to this number. There is India 1, India 2, India 3. India 1 is about 25 lakhs. India 2 is about 1 crore. India 3 is about another 2 crores. India 1 is that 25 lakhs is the India that it is digitally enabled, that gets into higher education by some amount of digital touch point. India 2 is about 1 crore. They do go to higher education institutions. They do BA, BCom, BSc, but very little, almost negligible digital. There are about 2 to 3 crore people who don't, they drop out in school, don't go to college, all of that. What we are really focused on is the 2 percentile, right, of that India 1, which is about 50,000 students. Today, SRM across our campuses, we do anywhere between 15,000 enrollments every year. I know every 100 admissions where it comes from. Today, we have data that tells me I know where all those 15,000 admissions today, this year's admission cycle hasn't started, but I can give with 98 to 99% certainty from which geography, how many admissions would come. From which school, how many admissions. I can give that number to a pin code. The challenge is really quality. Yeah, the challenge is really quality. We are really targeting, we get about 2 to 3 lakh applications every year. But what we want is that top 50,000, right? The same crowd that goes in, that's trying to get into an IIT, that's trying to get into an AIMS, right? We just want that crowd. And there are about 1,000 universities in India, and I mean, like, at least top 100 universities are just after this particular crowd. And that 50,000, everyone is engaging them, right? And of that 50,000, a lot of students want to come here, but how do I have those meaningful, conversations with them? That's where these automations come in. Now I'm going back to what Suraj was talking about. So we have a team of about 50 to 60. And how do we speak to 3 lakh people? right? That's where the greater challenge is. And that's where the automations come in. The digital adoption, right? When 70-80% of the work used to happen from Meritto's end, yes, we were sitting with them, we're looking at things happen. Today, when just like 5-10% of because over the years Meritto has consciously started training our own folks into doing it. Today, our own folks build automations. Today, our own folks build those flow charts. Today, our own folks. So, if I want to start an automation, like let's say targeting another 25-30,000 odd students, I don't have to wait a day, 2 days. Happens in 5 minutes for me because my team is already trained there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
on the product end also, see, we worked really very hard to ensure that it is very easy for everybody to configure it themselves and the product becomes self-serve, right? And because, the similar problem that you're talking about, management of many applications and communicating with all those students is not that easy. Now, with us also, when we have more than, say, 1 lakh users on the platform, how do we reach out to them and handhold them to or configure systems on their behalf? It's not going to be possible for us at that scale. So that's how we did that. Okay, in interest of time, though we can talk a lot more, Sangha, but yes, Vaishnavi ma'am, in your institution, right, what's the framework of tech adoption you really have or you aspire to build?
See, the technology plays a role mainly in the classes. We had a video conferencing based classrooms even before COVID. For us, initially, the classes were only offline, and then as everybody is facing, there will be a demand for the faculties. Who are the faculties who have already appeared in the examination, but for some reason they were not able to clear? There were 40-50 faculties who were teaching with us and then they got into service. I told you about the repeaters. So somebody joined with us, they teach agriculture for several years, and then if you know Mr. Kulotungan IAS, who is today in Pondicherry as collector, he was our agri student. He taught with us for several years and then he became into the civil servant. So like this, we will have many issues like in terms of the faculties, producing them, training them, grooming them, and then bringing them into the field. So in such a case, when we started expanding ourselves geographically across places like Bangalore, Trivandrum, Salem, Madurai, Tiruchi, Namakkal, so in a case, we have to throw the classes from here. We can't make the faculties travel all over the places all the time. So that's when we thought about this video conferencing enabled classes, two-way interactive classes, which helped us a lot. So when COVID came, every place was connected. Like from Tiruchi, I can do classes to Chennai. From Namakkal, I can do classes to Bangalore. Like that, it was all totally connected. But this was again depending upon the external consultant or a vendor. So we had to be depending upon them for the licensing, and they give us different terms and conditions. We don't know when to like renew or keep a proper thing. And when COVID came, this many technologies came into place. Zoom was not a word which was very familiar to any of us before COVID. So after that only we started getting simpler technologies by which we were able to do better things. And the other challenge started coming is when students became online. When we run the classes for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, their per day GB should support them. Our classes are not like 40-50 minutes. We will be running classes for 3 hours, GS, 2.5 hours, CSAT, then we do the optional. So one day, 2 GB per day, students will be able to attend the classes completely. So what about the rest of them? So then there was a data issue. Then we had to reduce the resolution. So there were lots of things which went into the learning as we went ahead to reach out to the students. Then we thought UPSC students are the people who will be doing the data thing. But when we opened up the TNPSC, which is the Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission, where we get students from all the districts. Today, if you look at the kind of the group 4, group 2 level of students, many of them, they are online. So how are we going to cater to that particular pool? So it was totally classroom, hybrid mode, offline, online. How do we reach the students? So this is always a challenge for us. Till today, we keep looking at different options so that we reach out to. There is yet another challenge, I'll tell you. When we do the classes, the video gets recorded. This is a problem in the Microsoft when we do it in the Teams. And for the school education, it is fine. I have even seen my children studying through Microsoft Teams and then the video gets downloaded. But for us, when we allow the videos to be downloaded to the students, then they take it and then they circulate it, and people will not even come to the classes. They'll just make use of the videos and then they study it entirely, right? So, how do I restrict downloading of the videos? This is really a research area for me, which is going on for several years. So then I have to find out such a vendor who can help me to safeguard my intellectual property, which is the teaching of every faculty spends so many years bringing in the notes, bringing in the newer technologies, newer things, heart and soul they put into teach to the students. So, and we can't just rotate it in the market without having a reasonable value.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. What is that LMS that you're using? The learning language
We
system?
have right now that WebEx.
Okay, so that doesn't offer you the functionality of
We
stopping
have
downloads?
TestPress, which is a software which helps us run the test. We went through Zoom. Zoom has now changed its platform to minutes-based payment.
Yeah.
It was earlier license-based payment.
Yeah, but all these LMSs, I think, I like to believe that they would have a functionality wherein they can disallow any participant to download the video and take away.
That is the issue. Now we have to keep a restriction on it. Then we have to go to our student portal, upload the video, give them a time restriction to watch the videos, like 15 days, 1 month. So this policy, it keeps revising. Once in 6 months, Microsoft, Google, they all will keep. We used to have Google Meets. We used to have Google-based discussions, videos, everything. So that policy will also keep changing. Even if you look at Google Drive, earlier we used to have a restriction of not letting them download. Now everything is downloadable. So unless and until we are technically sound, we won't be able to protect our study material, which is unique to every institution. And apart from this, of course, admissions and counseling, we have improved a lot with the technology. Earlier, it used to be an Excel sheet. Then it became into a Google form. And slowly now we are getting into this Meritto kind of system where we can help the counselors to keep an account of all the things properly in place. So these are the challenges.
Great. So, again, you're left with no time, but just quick 20-second answers, everybody, right? Not everybody, just the few of you, and then maybe I'll do a rapid fire, right? In the next 2 minutes, we must wrap this up. Ma'am mentioned about evaluation of technology based on how simple it was to use for them, right? Now, for all of our references, if you can just help us understand that how as an institution or how an institution should go about shortlisting a technology. Are there certain parameters that they should look at, be it for admissions, be it for anything else? What parameters they should really look at?
How friendly it is for the school to learn, first thing.
Okay, user friendliness.
User friendliness, because most of the technology till out like back some 2 years, 3 years back, they were all focusing on the technical aspects of it. I've gone through a lot of tools. They are all focusing on technical aspects of it than focusing on the UX elements.
Okay.
So off late, I can see a lot of technical platforms which has very beautiful UX elements placed on it.
Okay.
And it is very easy to understand as well. So, and another thing is that how easy it is to be adapted by the people. I mean, like, apart from the UI UX part, how it makes that particular operations of that particular institution more hassle free. So
okay, I'll call it expertise. Maybe
expertise, yeah.
How deep it is into the
for us, this Meritto journey for the past 2 months,
yeah.
Like as sir was saying, we also have some 38 odd institutions to handle as well as in colleges, which are into different platforms like ICSEs, CBSEs, state boards. All these things are there. So when a customer, kind of a parent, makes an inquiry, we had to graph a very big flow chart on location-wise, syllabus-wise, class-wise. Certain of our schools has still only 10th standard. Certain schools have till 12th. So this experimentation never happened before. And that is when a technology has been implemented, when it triggers such kind of a streamlining of process in an organization. I believe that is something which will be useful for it.
Okay. Do you want to add something to this, sir?
Thanks for the short time. In fact, whether you are buying a LMS or you are buying a CRM, whatever it is, I think the first thing I look at is the dashboard. What kind of reports that come? How can I actually ensure that implementation is happening?
Okay.
Otherwise, what happens is that for the fancy of it, you get a software and you don't know how it is used, who is using it, who is not using it. I think Meritto's dashboard is good enough. It gives me good insight as to which agent is performing, which agent is not performing. This kind of reports keep coming regularly. When it comes to lead scoring, probably you have to customize it for every institution. I'm trying to develop my own model for lead scoring because for me, there will be a guy with very high marks will apply, but I may give admission, he may not join. So I have to run a logistic regression to see which are the parameters on which I have to evaluate my lead.
Yeah.
Your general purpose model may not work. So in terms of analytics, I think it has to be a little bit customized for every one of the institutes.
Okay, maybe so our customer success on so that I don't really forget this, sir. At Meritto, we understand this problem, right? And that's the reason that we have kept a very agile model of lead scoring. And lead scoring is different than applicant scoring because you have leads which are at the inquiry level might not really be submitting an application form and enrolling, and there are students who have applied and paid for the application form.
Right,
So
right.
these are two different journeys.
Okay.
This is how it is treated in the system. So applicant scoring is different, wherein because application form has larger information.
Right, right.
So you can apply scores based on the score, right? What schools
All
and so
those
forth.
things, yeah.
Lead scoring also. So we have given a platform, right? A configurator for you to input what score against what activity you really want to do. And it could be different for all institutions based on how they really want to look at lead score.
You have to keep adding more insights.
Yeah.
Based on the first call, you have to add some more data.
Yes.
And then refine your score. That's how we have to, keep going on a, dynamic way. One-time scoring may not work. I mean, that's my experience. Lastly, of course, AR, VR can be brought in to the whole this thing. Some more of AI models, will make it a lot more robust. So there are CRM tools which have, brought in these kind of.
Yeah, for AI also there are certain things that we are doing. Maybe during the discussion we'll have a word about it.
Yeah.
It's great that none of you talked about cost while evaluating any platform, because I think this is a growing understanding amongst everybody, including educational institutions, that technology should really be looked at as an investment and not a cost, right? Which wasn't really the case earlier. Now, my last question, and then we'll do a quick rapid fire in 10 seconds, we'll wrap. What do you fear the most when implementing any technology in your institution?
See,
Small 10-second answer. Please, same question to you, sir.
see, it is always not just in institution or anywhere, right? I've been 25 years in this field. It is the user, right? iPhone. Did you ever someone teaches you how to use an iPhone?
No.
You have built an iPhone for everyone, but the usage, you being an user, you need to have that functionality. That's all. As long as you have the functionality with what you need and a better user experience, the adaptability will be much easier.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
What do you fear the most with technology, sir?
I don't particularly go into one particular technology. I don't surrender to that. For example, in the administration side, we are more into ERP. We use the best of ERP to see that how we get connected, and data is very important. And when it comes to technology inside the classroom, the whole classroom is technologically driven only. All classrooms are smart boards. I can get a lesson from Pune classes. I can get a lesson from anywhere from the world, because every class is connected to it. I can convert. It depends on the teacher, how do they plan it. I'm more particular that my 6th, 7th standard, 8th standard are the more core value classes. And I work with them because that is where I have to begin my revolution. I've introduced artificial intelligence classes for them, because as 9 and 10, I give them artificial intelligence as a subject. So in matter of another 1 or 2 years, I'll introduce elective subject as a artificial intelligence for class level. I can't jump into it. I have to go slowly. This is also happening. Okay. Now, experience of my children are more important. How much of experiences I'm going to give them, how much of experience learning I'm going to give them, what is the hands-on experience. See, there are schools where they don't do practicals even for 12th standard. There are schools which don't do practicals 11th standard. But here is a school which we do because I believe I'm a teacher. So the hands-on experience is more important for the child than turning the textbook and knowing something. No, it is interactive. The lesson has to be interactive. This is where I call it a technology-supported classes, where it's not a technology alone is not going to be. See, the child is a child till the child comes into my gate. There's better transformation happen. The child becomes a student the moment it enters a classroom. So this metamorphosis is very important for me. Am I sending the child back home with that proficiency acquired in that 7 periods or 8 periods or 9 periods? This is where I work and this is what is the model I practice. I don't believe much on the technology because technology children are already wedded with technology. Why should I overdo with the technology? Because screen time is more powerful for them than a school time. So I know they are already in the into this technology. So I see that how I could avoid technology for them in a very different manner. But still, I provide the technology where resources have to be given to me. That's what I do have a STEM lab.
Great. Quick rapid fire. I'll tell you something. I have to also rapidly think of something to, speak out. You have to immediately tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind. All right. So, to you, Govind, Sangha, marketing or admissions?
Communications.
That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. All right, ma'am. Competition.
Competition is, of course, that's the major thing in our, as I told you, without results, we won't be able to survive in this field.
Okay, I'll give you another name. Meritto. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? You can be very honest.
Consolidation of data, which
Consolidation of data.
Yes.
All right. To you, data security.
Asset.
Asset. All right. Sir, for you, academics, teaching, or marketing?
Of course, marketing is for academics. So academics is more important than
Academics. Sir, the same question.
For me,
Teaching or branding?
For me, satisfaction is more important.
No, you have to say teaching or branding. What's the first thing that comes to your
Teaching
mind?
is more important than branding.
Teaching or for yourself, two things. First, this event evolve.
I'm sorry?
What's the first thing that comes to your mind
Evolve.
about evolve? Evolve by Meritto. This event.
A success.
Success? Wow. Would you like to stick to academics or go back to corporate?
Academics or corporate?
Yeah.
I don't have a choice now. I've been in academics.
First thing that comes to mind, no choice. All right, so that was the panel Enrollment Growth Unplugged, and you heard from all the champions here. Huge round of applause. I had a great time. Thank you so much, everybody, for the great insights. I got a lot of learning, and it was a pleasure sharing this stage with yourself. We'd like to do a quick felicitation now.